God, he's so edgy and cool, dude. It's like the F word, but spelled wrong. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, anyway, we're back. Another React video. It's been like months. I have a lot of stuff I want to react to, but I just kind of keep getting busy with, I don't know, gaming and new apartment and all this other stuff. But anyway, we're going to be checking out a video by the man, the myth, the legend, Wooly Gaming. He's a big guy in the Risk of Rain 2 space and roguelikes as a whole. I like him a lot. And he's got a video called Games Don't Need to Be Complex. And I think I agree. I've kind of skimmed through a little bit to make sure it, it's something I find interesting, and I do. And I think he explains a lot of things really well. So we're just going to go from the start and check it out.
Depth versus complexity. What's the difference and why does it matter? Well, I would define depth as the amount of content that a game has, where complexity would be the way in which that content is explained to the player.
All right, fair enough, fair enough.
Now, there are obviously some caveats here, such as when I say content, I actually mean good content, because if we literally just defined it as how much stuff is there to do in the game, then every single Ubisoft release for the past 10 years would be Game of the Year contenders.
He beat me to it, holy shit. Oh my God, Far Cry and Assassin's Creed series as a whole, both of them have turned into this. I don't even know which one this is. Just clearing outposts, finding like a cell tower or whatever that unlocks more fetch quests within some arbitrary region within the map. Oh my God, just acting like, oh, it takes 200 hours to beat the game and find all the collectibles, and the collectibles just mean nothing, and garbage.
I believe that the former should be as high as possible, while the latter as low or just downright absent, because you do want stuff to do in your games, right? I mean, why else are you playing them? Obviously. Wait, I'm sorry, what? You don't want that? What do you want? What kind of games are you even playing? Oh.
Assuming you actually enjoy playing games, then you probably do not want to experience the game's content from either A, all at once in a massive text menu or pop-up barrage, or B, from a source that's not even in the game.
Yep, oh my God. And not to just like jerk off Noise Storm at all opportunities in every single video I've ever made, but at the same time, my dude understands this point. Like, there's not just a billion things to read in-game, nor do you have to rely on an outside source like a Wikipedia page pulled up on a second monitor or a laptop or a phone in order to know what the hell's going on. There's a balance being struck in Crab Champions, and that balance is struck obviously really well in a lot of games, but my God. And I'm sure he's going to get into it with the depth versus complexity thing, but shit just being overly complex to the point where you have to go look up like Reddit threads about people explaining how things work and how different systems and mechanics, it's just too much. It's too much. You got to find a balance.
Think of it like this. If the only response that you have for someone who asks, where do I go next? Or what do I do now? Is check the wiki or check the guide.
Yeah.
Then you've got a problem.
There is no reason to obfuscate information from the player, ever.
Obfuscate? Wait a minute. Am I stupid? I need that. I need that definition. Go back. Render obscure, unclear, or unintelligible. Again, just like needless complexity. Complexity for the sake of complexity. I think it's almost like there's a cohort within the gaming industry of like young, not too young, like they're old enough to understand games, but they're not old enough to understand what makes games good. And so they just see like bigger number, better game kind of thing. Like Ludwig, bigger number, better person. It's like average time to beat the game takes 200 hours. It must be better. There's 45 outposts to collect. That must be good. Other games only have 12. That's not enough. Like they just think that more is better by default, and it's so silly. But I mean, I was literally part of that group in like, I don't know, middle school, early high school, especially when Far Cry series, like I started with 3, which is considered probably the best in the series. Maybe 2's the best. Never played 2, and then 4 was like kind of more of the same. It just got a little bit more fetch quests, a little bit more shit to do, but it's just like garbage shit. And then 5 I reluctantly played, and it was just meh, and I'm 6 not touching. I'm not never touching the games again. But yeah, when I first got into that kind of game, I was just like, wow, look how big this map is. Like looking up like biggest map in gaming. Oh my God, it's bigger than GTA 4 and 5 combined. Whoa. Like it doesn't matter how big it is. It needs to be good. There needs to be stuff to do that's meaningful, not just stuff to do.
Are these bad games? No, quite the opposite, actually. Just good freaking luck trying to get someone to stick around with one of these games for more than an hour or two without pushing them towards some kind of guide or answering every single question they have outright. Why? Because while these games have an insane amount of content, the way in which that content is presented to the player is pretty, how should I say, let me think about, piss poor.
Well, Wooly, I don't want a game where I'm constantly being handheld and I get my progressions spoon-fed to me like I'm a little baby game. And whoa.
I agree.
That's the funny part. I fully agree with you. This game right here, yeah, that's one of my favorite games of all time. I have thousands of hours, but just because
Yeah, see it. Oh, okay. Wait, get this man's off the screen. this screen, assuming that this is a gameplay screen and like that guy doing the whirlwind sword slash or whatever is the playable character. I don't know, man. This top down, it's like they're not the same games, but the Diablo franchise, even like good old Baldur's Gate. I know they're fundamentally different, but they're like top down role playing style. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but I don't give a fuck, dude. I don't give a fuck. I want this in first person or third person at most. I don't want cameras in the ceiling or past the ceiling. You're seeing through walls as you walk past. It's so weird to me.
take Tarkov. At the very least,
man.
just display the bullet stats
Wait, no way.
somewhere in the actual game.
You have to go to a guide and reference a table. What is this, like base damage per bullet? It's not over here. It's not in game. You don't get a damage stat in game? Wow. Oh, chef's kiss, man.
New players should not have to wonder why Ultra Giga Chad Rat Eater 9000 just tanked their entire mag of 762 US and then turn around and one-tap them in the thorax with Lapua AP. For EVE Online, I'll be honest, I don't play EVE. I just know that you're supposed to be some space dude that flies ships, day trades, specializes in geopolitical warfare, and perpetually has 100 browser tabs open or something like that.
Now, think about your favorite game. Does it need a casual player litmus test? Does it need design decisions that basically guarantee that all but the most hardcore of players are immediately intimidated? No, it does not need that. Because by making the game less complex, you then get access to—
What is this game? Is the RuneScape, right? OG RuneScape?
every other player type out there while still keeping those hardcore players around. If the depth is there, the hardcore players who crave content are gonna stick around. You're not gonna turn them away from lack of complexity.
Agreed.
It's the depth they care about.
Also, who's to say that casual players can't turn into hardcore ones? What if X game is exactly their cup of tea and they just don't know it yet? But when they do decide to finally take the plunge, they see this and then go, yeah, no, I'm good. I gotta go to bed in an hour. I'm gonna go play a game of Apex instead. Peace.
No, that's a good point. There's an intimidation factor, so to speak. I'm sure you've all been in a situation where you found a new game that you like and you're trying to get your friend to play it. So you send them a trailer and they're like, okay, man. And then you send them a couple YouTube videos and they get like 1 minute in and then it's just like some crazy menu and they're like, that dude, screw that, I'm out. Like there's always going to be some level of text or whatever on screen where everyone's just like, nope, I'm out. Not everyone, but most people. Because it's like, I don't want to read. I'll read little blurbs. I'll skim stuff. But I don't want to read a paragraph. I don't want my entire screen with 500 words trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do. It's just too much. It's supposed to be a game, not a freaking job.
All a gamer needs is a little push in the right direction, a little nudge.
Yeah.
And every game should provide those nudges as much as possible by streamlining the information presented. And this streamlining needs to come in the design process. Take a game like League of Legends. Why do you think that League of Legends became the most popular game in the world? Could it have had something to do with the gameplay loop being both incredibly in-depth and accessible? Spoilers. That's exactly what it was.
Simple or self-explanatory moment-to-moment gameplay mechanics packaged with clear visual and auditory feedback on top of an extremely obvious objective.
So actually, off rip, I would have assumed that Woody would would have said League as an example of too complex, despite having depth. But I'll hear him out. Also, is my cat trying to break in? I don't know. The door's cracked open. He can just bump it open.
I have a character. I move character down one of 3 very clear paths to choose. I find enemies. I click enemies. I fight enemies. I see buttons. I click buttons. Buttons fight enemies better. I click more buttons. I kill enemies. I see money. I try to spend money. I cannot spend money. I want to spend money. I get distracted by my need to spend money and I walk into a big laser guy. I die. I try to spend money again. I buy item. I happy. Character respawns.
happy.
That's it. That's League of Legends.
There is something to be said about how some of those... I don't want to go too crazy, but I feel like a lot of intelligent people get into games like League because it does require a lot of intelligence. And I would have said, due to the complexity, like there's just so many champions at this point. There's what, 130, 150? They all have unique move sets and all the moves break down into, you know, it's like a line attack or dash attack or whatever. So it's not that complex, but at the same time, they all have different things, different team comps and what counters what best and the proper builds to go for based on your role, whether you're the tank or the ADC or the jungle, and which characters work best for those roles. Maybe that's just the depth he's talking about. Maybe it's not too complex because at the end of the day, there's a small number of roles and there's a small number of viable builds per role. So it ends up being less complex than it seems. But for me, League is an example of a game where just looking at it, I get overwhelmed, and I think it's too much.
League is the quintessential example of easy to learn but hard to master. Once you play literally a single match, you have a rough boilerplate idea for every other match you'll ever play of League of Legends. But as soon as you queue up again and hop into your second match, all of a sudden, who the heck is this purple floaty dude with a laser sword on his arm? And what the heck is this big crocodile dude just teleporting straight into my face from I don't even know where? And who is this big ghost centaur that keeps coming out the bushes to smack my booty? Huh? What's a ward? And game after game after game after game, you'll continually learn intricacy after intricacy about not only your character, but all of the others that you're playing against, what their abilities are doing, how long the cooldowns roughly are, where to position for maximum pressure on them, on and on and on. Not to mention that the better you get, the less micro skill comes into play, and the more macro movements and overall map knowledge begin to matter. My point is that the best games are both easy to learn and hard to master. High depth, low complexity.
I can see what he's saying here with League, and I do 100% like fully mirror that opinion of easy to learn, hard to master end up being some of the most addicting games, the games that have the strongest player base, the highest player counts, and just in general are considered the best games. I mean, take, I don't know, Counter-Strike Go and Counter-Strike 2, for example. It's very straightforward. If you've played any first-person shooter, you get it. You got to go shoot them. The only difference is like more realistic damage, and headshots are almost always one-hit kills, and you have one life. And there's a team planting a bomb, team defusing. Like it's a very straightforward, simple process. It's not like there's crazy attachments or anything nuts. Like it's very straightforward, very simple. It's just a small number of maps. The maps are very, very extremely balanced with clear lanes, clear planting sites that don't change. Little burp there, but yeah, very easy to learn, hard to master. You know, just like you look at your Steam friends list and it gives you the amount of hours last 2 weeks. The people with the 100 to 200 plus hours last 2 weeks are playing games like that. Rocket League. I used to be a Rocket League creator. It's incredibly hard to get all the mechanics. I mean, some people do form an argument that Rocket League might be the most mechanically hard game in the world. It's definitely up there, but you could also argue something like League. But anyway, easy to learn. It's just car soccer. Hard to master. It takes 7,000 to 10,000 hours to become one of the best.
Only thing that keeps them around is depth, right? This depth can be things like a visible skill ceiling in a PvP game, or just the sheer amount of mechanics in a PvE one. If there's nothing to master, the hardcore players are gone, and that's never going to change. Casual players, on the other hand, or rather anyone who is not what I just described, will then find said game naturally due to all the attention that the hardcore boys are giving it, and here's where the complexity comes in. If the game cannot draw in the majority of those prospective casual players, the game's too complex.
Remember, at the end of the day, it's not about the content itself, it's about how the content is presented. There is no excuse for failing to present things in a clear and concise manner, period. Like this, or this, or that.
The middle screen. What is this, World of Warcraft with like... Yeah, dude, great game. I'm very happy I never got into that shit. Oh my God. Not to be too rude, but what is wrong? Why is your brain wired in a way that finds this experience, this middle screenshot up here? Why do you find that enjoyable, dude? It sucks. It's not even good animations. The fighting is awful. Loot management is awful. There's infinite information. Too complex. Garbage. Moving on.
Ultimately, all of those are design choices that detract from the game's overall appeal. Anyway, that's all I've got. If you guys like the new style of content, let me know. Thanks for watching.
I like
Peace
it.
out, boys. I'll catch you in the next video.
Yeah, nice short one, but I think...
record my cat before she gets away. I have a little green screen helper. Say hi. So we can get around the green screen.
I did the same thing.
Boom.
Say hi.
Got a green screen kitty now.
That's cute. Yeah, no, I think a nice simple video, but he makes some good points, man. There's a balance. There's a balance between depth and complexity. You want high amount of depth without introducing high levels of complexity. You gotta keep the hardcore player base around, keep them with the depth, and not scare off the more casual player base by being overly complex. And yeah, I fully agree. The best games in the world do a good job balancing that. And games that might be more of like little cult classics, you know, they have their player base, but it's a small one. Those ones tend to be over complex or just not enough depth, period. You know, the scales are tipped in the other direction. Anyway, if you liked the video, nice quick react one for you. I want to get a little bit more of these out. If you got any good videos on the gaming industry or something, a topic that you just think I might like, comment, let me know what it is. Join my Discord, that's in the description. I've got a channel for React stuff. You can submit those links and maybe I'll react to them in the future. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel and be on the lookout for more Crab Champions, roguelike, and more React content in the future. Have a good one. See ya.